So this morning, a new Pokemon Presents dropped that discussed a bunch of Pokemon news for various titles, including an update for, of course, the next big core releases, Scarlet and Violet. So I wanted to talk about all that today. The presentation kicked off actually with discussion of the return of the Pokemon World Championships. Myself, I'm just a big fan of seeing this kind of stuff returning. You know, us kind of getting back to normal with live in-person events. Just this kind of stuff in itself is exciting to me. They announced there will be new games added to the lineup, including Pokemon Unite and Pokemon Go. We'll have a tournament, I guess. I don't know if FaZe Clan is going to now start assembling a crew of pro Pokemon Go players for this. Yeah, they had a little sizzle reel like showing people spam slapping their phone screen while they discussed this. I was just like, wow, okay, that's a real thing that they're going to do. There are a bunch of anniversaries being celebrated in the mobile games. Unite has some events going on for the first year, including an all Pikachu mode where everybody plays as Pikachu. Buzzwole is coming to the game, which honestly, I'll admit, I thought looked kind of cool seeing him just slam the shit out of other Pokemon. I may actually have to try that out. Masters has some stuff going on. That was more of a tease. Mewtwo is coming to Cafe Mix because he's apparently like legit dying of hunger. So please, people, if you play that, could you just give him a sandwich? But of course, obviously, Scarlet and Violet are what people really came here to see. To start with these games, man, visually, I gotta say, boys, this game, it looks rough. I know it's been rough from the start, and I kind of defended it a little bit at first, kind of thinking like, okay, well, they're going to be able to polish it up a little bit, and you could still see a little bit of polish happening, I guess, up between now and release. But it's like I'm playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 right now, and even that game, I think, is it's a little bit held back by the Nintendo Switch system. There are some small issues I have with the visuals in that game, but it's like, again, I'm playing that right now, and that game looks multiple times better than Scarlet and Violet. I'll say I like the design, the overall style of the Paldea region, but the quality, the textures in that especially, it doesn't look much improved from Arceus. And, you know, I'd give Arceus some slack with it being kind of the first for this new direction for the Pokemon series, but this follow-up should be improving all these things. And no, I do not give a shit that it's releasing the same year, because, again, that's a Game Freak choice, that's a Pokemon Company choice to milk players for 2 games in 1 year. You certainly didn't have to. You could have let this game cook a little bit longer, release it another year from now, and you probably could have made it look a bit better. But also, of course, doing that, you wouldn't sell like 50 million copies of Pokemon games in 1 year. I mean, this thing started off with like the glam shots, you know, showing the sprawling shots of the environments and that. And I was just watching it like, ooh, there's this like one like close-up look of a flower being all like artsy. And like, you sure you want to show that? I was just kind of cringing like through that whole section. Also, I'm worried in terms of visuals about the frame rate, especially with this game being open world. There were some shots that looked not great in that department, and on top of that, you know, you're gonna do the online co-op, 4 players going and exploring together at the same time. If the game struggles, I could see that whole aspect being a letdown. Like, if the game really starts chugging when you have multiple people playing, it's like that's gonna turn me off from wanting to play the mode at all. But I will say, again, I am glad we're at least going in this open world direction. This is where I want Pokemon to go. And yeah, Arceus certainly wasn't an open world game, a fully open world game like this is going to be. But still, it's like the steps we're taking to get here. It's looking like I don't feel like we're seeing enough improvement. In terms of the new content they showed, a reveal I know shocked everyone. The legendaries are mountable. And if the design of these Pokemon didn't give it away, their names, Miraidon and Koraidon, certainly should have. Get it? Rhydon? I was honestly, at first, I thought this was a cool idea. Clearly, they were going to be mountable, something you rode around this big open world in. But after seeing some of this in action, I was kind of disappointed by what they showed with these. First off, the red one, Kurraidon, I guess he doesn't move like a motorcycle, even though he's got the wheels, right? He still runs around like on all fours. At least in all the shots they showed during this trailer, whenever the player would mount it, yeah, he's just running around on all fours, not using the wheels. That looked incredibly stupid. I don't get why, if you made both of these Pokemon look like motorcycles, if they're not going to both move like motorcycles. I think that's also a big L for that game's Legendary, in my opinion. I think that's going to be something that's going to push more people towards Violet. Certainly if the Pokemon looks like a motorcycle, I want to ride him like a motorcycle. And these Pokemon both do pretty much everything else as well. You know, they fly, swim, can climb up mountains, and each one does have different animations in those areas. Like Kurraidon has wings that he actually like flaps like a bird, where Miraidon, when you fly in him, he like turns into a jet. And that stuff's all fine and good. I think it is cool to have some differences like that, but yeah, that look on the ground running while having the reels, just not a fan of that at all. Like, you shouldn't have done a motorcycle aesthetic for both of these guys if one of them wasn't going to do anything with it. Could have just had a totally unique design. Also, I think it kind of sucks that these Pokemon are going to take up all these roles. I'm assuming at least you can't ride around on other Pokemon, which I'm not saying like you should be able to fly on every flying Pokemon, swim with any water Pokemon. I get, you know, work goes into making all these different Pokemon rideable, mountable, but I'd prefer like Arceus' style of having separate designated like a flying, a ground, a water mount, etc. I think that's a lot better than just having one Pokemon do everything. And I think it just kind of like devalues the whole idea of like using these Pokemon for different things. Again, a flying Pokemon to fly, and that's like, oh, well, these Pokemon just do everything. We also got to look at this game's big new gameplay mechanic, Terastallizing, which causes Pokemon to sort of crystallize and unlocks new abilities and can even change the Pokemon's type. As a mechanic, gameplay-wise, I don't want to judge it yet. Definitely not the most exciting thing for sure. And with the type changing, I could see that being a bit of a balancing nightmare if there are a lot of Pokemon that can do this. But the visual aesthetic, at least, like the image of these Pokemon being covered in this crystal look, I think looks dumb. I don't want to have to, I hopefully don't have to spend a lot of time staring at this. So the thing I'm really hoping with this mechanic is that it's not something that happens too often, it's not too intrusive. And it's weird because it's not like just laziness with this design, like, oh, well, they just slapped this little crystal effect on the guys. Like, there are changes beyond just the crystal effect, like the Pokemon get these little crowns that symbolize the new type, like, you know, if it's a fire one, you got like little candles on it, etc., which I also think those crowns, the little hats, look stupid. Especially if we are going to see ones that don't match up with the Pokemon's type. I could see that getting really odd looking in a lot of instances. But yeah, so some work actually went into the look for this. It's not just some cheap effect. Yeah, it seems like a really odd choice overall. I honestly much prefer the look, at least, of Dynamaxing in Sword and Shield over this. Obviously, I'd prefer something like Mega Evolutions, but clearly we can't have anything that good anymore. Like I said, mechanically, I got to see a bit more on how all this works, but at face value right now, I can't say I'm very interested in this either. And to get Pokemon with rare terastallized form like Sword and Shield, you get them from raid battles. Now, something I will say I like here is that in this game, the raid battles will play out differently. They didn't show too much of this, but they did say you won't have to wait for your partners to finish attacking for you to perform your move. So if you played Sword and Shield, you know what a slog these raid battles were to get through. And I like the idea, the concept of battling a super powerful Pokemon with your friends, like all grouped up against him, but the waiting, you know, for everyone to select their move and then going through them all, it took forever. So I'm glad that's getting updated. Beyond those things, there wasn't too much here. We got some looks at more of the world, like I said. Not the most impressive looking characters, gym leaders and that, which is cool. but nothing else I really want to talk too much about. A couple new Pokemon and new variants, like a shit-covered Wooper, and I do have to admit, they are doing some good work with the new Pokemon. We got Lechonk previously, and now this good doughy boy, Fido. One of those Pokemon, though, I know it's tough, but try not to eat them, guys. But yeah, overall, I think this was kind of a disappointing new look at the game, in my opinion. I'm still interested, and I'll even say excited for it, but the overall focus of this latest look didn't do much for me. They seem to be keeping a lot of what I'm interested in very close to the chest still, notably the co-op play. Beyond doing something like the raid battle, I really want to know, what exploring the world looks like with 3 other people, like what you can actually do. And we get teases like, oh yeah, you run it around with your friends, but it's like, okay, what does that all play session look like? That's something that, especially something like this, a Pokemon Presents, I think it would have been nice to go in for a few minutes and just run down what like the whole process will be like with grouping, getting the people in your game, what kind of stuff you go do, and how it like people bring stuff back to their games, all that stuff. I want to see more of that. Like, what you have this big open world, what are we doing in it? And again, going off of that, in general, what real benefits are we getting out of this open world? This is the big thing they're hyping up. They say it multiple times in this trailer, like, oh, first time, open world Pokemon. You explore it with your friends, but you're not really telling me too much else. And, a big open world isn't much of a selling point to me if it's not exciting to be in. So hopefully there's a good amount going on with that stuff. But yeah, what they showed today, again, I don't want to sound too much like a downer. I don't want to sound like, oh my god, this game's going to suck, it's terrible, because, I am somebody who is hated on a lot of, definitely the majority of the Nintendo Switch Pokemon games, but I'm at least hyped about the direction they're going in. I want these games to be good, but yeah, this look didn't do too much for me. As usual with Game Freak, there's just a lot of stuff that's kind of turning me off about it. And again, like I said, we haven't had much focus on the stuff I actually think is going to be really interesting with this game. Anyway, with that, this video is a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on the latest episode of Pokemon Presents in the comments. Are you thinking about a career as a pro-level Pokemon Go player? And what did you think about this latest look at Scarlet and Violet? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari. Thanks for watching.